Right now at noon, the battle over the possibility of legalizing marijuana in Kansas.
Plus, we have a cold front coming in Friday morning. I've got the details.
And local advice for off-roading safety in the wake of a tragedy.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A serious crash in Jasper County leaves one woman in the hospital and another in jail with multiple charges. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. The crash occurred last night around 5:50 p.m. at West 7th Street and Black Cat Road. Now, Brandy Duvall of Joplin was traveling north on Black Cat Road when she failed to yield at West 7th and T-boned a vehicle, causing it to overturn. Duvall was arrested at the scene and transported to the Jasper County Jail. She is charged with felony DWI causing serious physical injury and failure to yield involving a motor vehicle crash. Now, the driver of the T-bone vehicle, a Baxter Springs woman, was transported to a Joplin hospital suffering serious injuries. Well, counseling is now available for students in McDonald County following the death of one of their peers. The 14-year-old was severely injured in an ATV accident and a few days later succumbed to his injuries. Now, in light of this tragedy, KOAM's Anthony Saviello spoke with local power sports and off-roading experts about the safety measures that should be taken when operating these vehicles.
Getting the chance to drive a vehicle meant to traverse off-road in places your everyday vehicle can't can make for some fun moments.
You just want to make sure you're getting it for what you want, whether you're using it for fun or you're using it for work. I'm going to be able to point you in the right direction in whether you're going with a utility ATV or a sport ATV.
No matter what you are using it for, there are risks that need to be assessed.
Make sure you are limiting that speed and just watching what you're doing. Four-wheelers are a lot more dangerous out on the roads than any of the side-by-sides that we offer. So you just have to be very, very cautious.
Caitlin Gilliland with Pitbull Power Sports says all off-road vehicles have age restrictions.
So legally, I am not allowed to sell a unit to a customer. Say if a customer walks in here and says, I have a 4-year-old kid that I'm looking to buy a 70cc four-wheeler for. I got to stop him right there and say, given you just told me the age of your child, the youngest one that I'm allowed to sell one to is 6 years old, so I'm sorry, but I can't legally sell this to you.
Staying safe on these vehicles is a shared responsibility with the drivers that you may share the road with.
So it's pretty much just like motorcycles. You watch out for them. They're going to watch out for you if you watch out for them. Make sure that you're not going at high speeds. Obviously, that's going to be the safest option, but keep your eye out.
There is one piece of equipment Gilliland says is essential.
Always wear a helmet.
These vehicles can be a lot of fun, but the dangers they pose can be deadly. It's important that we educate ourselves and those around us so that way we can stay safe while enjoying these amazing machines. In Lawrence County, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Now, according to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, between 2018 and 2020, 2,448 deaths were associated with ATVs and other off-road vehicles. Now, if you're curious about the off-road vehicle laws in your area, you're encouraged to contact your local law enforcement agency. Now, let's head over to Chloe Arroyo for a look at the forecast.
Well, those temperatures warmed up quite a bit from this morning. We started out in the upper 20s, lower 30s. Now we're sitting in noon. Southwesterly winds warming us up into the lower 50s across the state. Grove at 54, Miami 53. Same for Jay as well. You go a little further south, you'll see those warmer temperatures, but that comes with a cost. Those winds are picking up even more. We're sitting around 10 to 15 miles per hour across the board. Those winds are starting to become a little more westerly than they were this morning. They were straight up southerly winds, and now they're changing directions, but those wind gusts are upwards of 30 to 35 miles per hour over the next hour or two. Now this evening they're going to calm down before they ramp right back up, and later on tonight due to a cold front that will push through. Now coming up in a bit, we're going to talk more about that cold front. We're talking frigid temperatures. Feel like temperatures in the single digits. I'll also have your long range forecast. We've got some Christmas Eve rain ahead of us possible. I'll have those details coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon, Chloe. Thanks. The Kansas Bureau of Investigations reportedly clears 3 Southeast Kansas law officers of wrongdoing in a shooting death. Now, according to the Montgomery County Chronicle, the KBI has wrapped up its probe into the fatal shooting that happened last August. Coffeyville police officers had stopped a pickup driven by 33-year-old Derek Trotter and tried to detain him to serve a search warrant. The initial police report said Trotter resisted and tried to escape. It said 2 officers deployed tasers, but that Trotter continued to be combative. Now, 1 officer fired 3 rounds, striking Trotter, who later died. Now, the Chronicle reports the Montgomery County attorney has announced charges will not be filed against the officers, saying the shooting was justifiable self-defense. Well, Kansas is set to once again discuss the legalization of marijuana in the next legislative session. Lawmakers have discussed medical marijuana in a special committee every session since 2021. Missouri has legalized both medical and recreational marijuana, bringing in $1.3 billion in cannabis sales in 2023. Now, for those involved in the ongoing discussions in Kansas, they say it's now frustrating to see the lack of movement on the issue in their state.
And you guys are doing really well bringing in tax dollars and putting those funds into schools and public policies, into rehab programs. And we still have committee members that are telling us, well, we don't have research.
Now, this year, the Special Committee for Medical Marijuana voted against recommending legislation to their peers, instead opting to see how Nebraska and Florida voted on marijuana issues in November. The upcoming Kansas legislative session starts January 13th. And Tuesday, Missouri Congress gathered at the state capitol to induct former Senator Roy Blunt into the Hall of Famous Missourians. For 12 years, Blunt served as a U.S. Senator before deciding not to run for re-election in 2024. Now, during the ceremony, Blunt was presented with a bronze bust in his likeness, which will find its new home in the Missouri Capitol hallway.
I've been really lucky, and I appreciate the good luck I've had and the good fortune I've had to work for Missourians over an incredible 50 years now of public service.
Now, before becoming a U.S. Senator, Blunt was the Missouri Secretary of State, then represented Southwest Missouri in the U.S. House for 20 years. Well, coming up, Joplin celebrates the completion of a road project years in the making. And later, we're making lemon rosemary roasted Cornish hens in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, the final phase of the Connecticut widening program is officially complete. Now, the city of Joplin gathered yesterday to celebrate the milestone with a ribbon cutting. The overall Connecticut widening project started from 10th Street to 44th Street and expanded a 2.7-mile stretch of a 2-lane roadway into a 5-lane thoroughfare. Now, the last phase widened the north and south corridor to 5 lanes from 32nd Street to the I-44 bridge. He also added a sidewalk and bike trail on the west side of the roadway.
Before it was a little hard to get out. Now being 5 lanes with a turn lane, hopefully it'll make it a little bit easier getting in and out.
The first phase of the $3.8 million project started in 2005. Well, students and staff at Knoll Elementary celebrated the completion of the school's new storm shelter yesterday. The shelter doubles as a gymnasium and is big enough to hold the entire Knoll community. Now, it's the 4th of 6 district-wide shelters funded by a $21 million no tax increase bond.
You can't put a price tag on safety, and you never know when you're going to need a storm shelter, but we're going to have one now at any time during the day or night that if our community or students or community members have the need for the storm shelter.
Well, in addition to the new storm shelter, other completed construction projects at Knoll Elementary include a remodeled foyer and front offices. Well, students at Rise Elementary yesterday donated more than 44 pillowcases filled with toys for the Freeman's Pediatric Unit for Christmas. Now, the students raised $1,100 through a glow-in-the-dark concert and then used the funds to buy fabric, make pillowcases, and fill them with toys.
It is just very special to see the community come together and care so much for the community and the kids that are in our community and just come together for them. You know, these kids may not be able to be home during the holidays and be here, so just something special from another child to one is just amazing.
We got to make pillowcases and we got to stuff them with cool toys for Freeman Hospital.
The kiddos also got the chance to meet and greet other healthcare workers and hospital officials. And still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
This year, why not shake things up by serving everyone their very own perfectly sized main dish? Any ideas to what we're making?
Plus, we've got a cold front ahead of us for your Friday morning. I've got that and your long-range forecast coming up next. Well, hey there, 4 states. I hope you're able to bundle up this morning. It finally felt like a winter morning and then warmed up quite a bit into actually above average for this time of year. We usually see highs in the 40s in the month of December, but not today. We're reaching temperatures in the lower 50s right now. Miami, 53 degrees, Grove, 54, Pittsburgh still at 49 degrees right now. So we're still seeing a couple 40s here and there, but we're all going to eventually reach into the lower 50s this afternoon. Now our winds are going to continue to ramp up. They have over the last couple of hours. Right now we're sitting anywhere from 10 to 15 miles per hour. Fort Scott consistent winds 15 miles per hour right now. We're slowly shifting from a southerly wind to a westerly wind, and as it does so, it's ramping up. Our wind gusts upwards of 30 to 35 miles per hour, especially off in southwestern Missouri going on right now. Now this afternoon, expect that to calm down just a little bit before we pick right back up later on tonight into Friday morning. This is due to a cold front that's going to push through, and along that front we'll have some hefty gusts along with it, upwards of 30 miles per hour, that northwesterly wind making us feel really chilly in the morning. In fact, we'll feel like we're in the single digits. Friday morning, Nevada feeling like 6 degrees, Mount Vernon 5 degrees is what it's going to feel like tomorrow morning. So really keep that in mind for your morning commute as the kiddos are heading out to school tomorrow morning. Even in the afternoon, we're going to have temperatures feeling like the 20s, even though our highs will be in the 30s tomorrow afternoon. Now for today, we'll hold on to those warmer temperatures for the afternoon for just right now. 52 degrees for your high in Joplin. Again, we're going to have that southwesterly wind with us for a while before it changes more so to a westerly wind. And then later on tonight, we'll see those temperatures in the 40s, 41 degrees by 10 p.m. But because of that cold front, we're going to dip down into the 20s overnight. So we'll have a 20-degree drop just overnight tonight. So a big change, a pretty strong temperature gradient along with that front. So really keeping that in mind. So for your future track, we'll see a ridge pushing off into really developing in the western portion of the U.S. And that's going to affect our pattern off into the central plains. That's going to leave us pretty calm over the next couple of days. We're talking Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday. We'll have calm conditions, but also colder temperatures, especially on Friday as a result of the back end of that cold front that'll push through. And then next week is when we'll see more activity in terms of rain, especially starting Monday night into Tuesday morning. This is our first system that we'll see. This extends all the way up into Canada. It'll be a large system, but we'll only see rain from that because our temperatures will be pretty warm into the 50s and eventually into possibly the 60s for some folks a little further south. But then we'll see a break in that pattern once we get on Christmas Day, and then Thursday and beyond, we'll have more chances for rainfall. We're talking Thursday, Friday, and even into the weekend next weekend. So here's a look at that 10-day forecast. We've got calm conditions over the next couple of days, but cold temperatures on Friday after that cold front pushes through. But then every single day next week, except for Christmas Day, we'll see a chance for rainfall. Not much, but it's every single day.
Well, no rain on Christmas. Does that count as a Christmas miracle?
I guess it does.
All right.
I guess it does. There you go.
Well, thanks, Chloe.
Of
Well,
course.
stick around. We're making lemon rosemary roasted Cornish hens in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Howard's making lemon rosemary roasted Cornish hens in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
This year, why not shake things up at your next dinner party or Christmas dinner by serving everyone their very own perfectly sized main dish? It's something that my mom used to make, and to this day, I still love it. I'm talking about individual roasted Cornish hens. Not only do they look special, but they're super flavorful and so easy to make. In case you're not familiar with Cornish hens, they're basically a cousin to the chicken, only smaller and more tender. Each one's about a pound to a pound and a half. To make them, all we do is stuff each one with a wedge of lemon and some fresh rosemary. Then we tuck the wings back, like this, and tie, or as it's officially called, truss, the legs together with some butcher twine. Now we place them in a roasting pan on a rack, season them with some olive oil and a bit of salt and pepper, and add garlic cloves all around it. Then we pour a mixture over them that we made by mixing together some Dijon mustard, white wine, and chicken broth. And then into the oven they go. After roasting for about an hour with lots of basting throughout, they're done. Talk about one of the juiciest holiday main dishes you've ever tasted. And since everyone gets their very own, it looks even more la-di-da. To get the recipe for our lemon rosemary roasted Cornish hens, head over to our website. I know you'll be glad you did. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a perfectly sized way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, as always, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just head on over to our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now let's take a look at the 4th state market prices.
Well, we got a cold front pushing through tonight into Friday morning, leaving our feel-like temperatures in the single digits Friday morning. Our high only reaching up into the 30s, but next week, much more active weather pattern. Really the only day that we won't have a chance for rainfall, Wednesday on Christmas Day. But overall, a warm week too, so warm and rainy throughout the week.
Guess we just got to get through tomorrow with those frigid temps. Not really looking forward to that too much.
No, I'm not either. My joints are not at all.
All right. Thanks, Chloe. And Joe, what do you have for us later on?
Well, a whole lot's coming up at 5. A new social media trend is encouraging people to optimize their sleep routines in an effort to get more shut-eye and improve their sleep environment. We're going from hear from some sleep experts as they weigh in on the trend of sleep maxing. Yeah, that's a thing. Plus, Oklahoma's Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell takes a stop in Ottawa County to discuss economic growth and opportunity for the area. And Southwest City Elementary students spread some holiday cheer with the school's annual caroling tradition. How fun. Join us for those stories, a lot more, of course. It's coming up on KOAM News at 5.
Lots to look forward to. Thank you, Dow. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.